Okay, let's do this. The Good Life meditation just after my swim. So it's really cold. It's the I think today's the 27th day of November. Whoops, low battery. 16. Okay, let's get this right, Kurt. So a little chilly. It's really cold, and I'm just finishing up a really cold swim. So if I start shaking, that's why. And it's early in the morning, so there shouldn't be anybody here. Unless someone comes to hang out in the jacuzzi, maybe. So this is a morning activity, a daily activity that I do to reaffirm my objectives, remind myself of my principles, and refine them along the way. This begins with a statement, an affirmation of human and civil rights, simply a reminder to keep those present, keep those forefront in my mind as I'm going through the day making decisions, so that I don't do things that jeopardize the well-being of the individuals and the lesser represented groups within society. I'm going to go quickly because I'm cold. The three objectives are 1, to develop and maintain good life principles. That's what this exercise is all about. 2, to formulate good emotional reactions to the circumstances of life. Basically, helping myself be in a position to weather the unexpected events and the trials, as well as the known issues that are coming up, so that I can respond well and offer a more mature face upon the world, not just for the sake of appearance, but for the sake of behavior, so that I can be a better individual, husband, father, co-worker, community member, and citizen, and a member of my species. Gosh, that sounds highfalutin. Next is the third objective is the performance of good actions, doing good things through the course of life. Let's get on to my 12, maybe 13 principles. I thought of one while I was in the pool just now. I may experiment with it at the end, although I may not be able to get through these. I have 12 is a lot to remember for an older guy like me. First, the atomic principle. Everything in the universe is made of bits and pieces that are falling away and will eventually, whatever composition we see now, those trees, those buildings, this body of mine will eventually fall away to nothing. Well, not nothing, just the bits and pieces that I'm made of, and the energy will distribute out and get reused somewhere else. 2, the principle of nature and sub-principle of paradigm, or human paradigm as I might call it. That wasn't a fart, just a bubble in my shorts. So I say. The principle of nature states that everything in the universe has some nature, even intangible, such as principles. And that it's worthwhile to take stock and catalog of the nature of things around us, so that we can have better expectations about what to expect of them. For example, the pool behind me has a particular nature. It's rectangular, it's concave, it's filled with water. The water is kept clean. It's delineated with lane lines, swim lines that can be used for orderly swimming and exercise. It's a lot of fun. It's heated, for the most part. Not so much right now. Still early in the season, I don't think they have the heater really cranked up very well. It's an attractive element for humans. It's attractive to other animals as well, birds maybe. I know the bees come in here. I'm always fishing the bees out. They fall in the water. And it does something to human beings in particular in terms of giving us a sense of leisure and recreation. It's a catalyst to parties and community events and all those kind of like things. That is some of the nature of a pool. This pool, at least. 3, and then the principle of paradigm, sub-principle of paradigm. Paradigm simply speaks not just to perspective, but to the operating, the mechanism and the methodologies behind a perspective. Every one of us has a perspective on life. That's our paradigm. That's our perspective. The paradigm is let me get those straight. The perspective is how we see the world. The paradigm is how we choose to engage in the world based on our perspective. And every one of us has our own unique paradigm as to our family and our culture, our ethnic group, our religion, our nation has a paradigm as well. And it's worthwhile to keep that in mind when interacting with other people. I simply try to remind myself that I'm dealing with someone who comes from another paradigm, and that I may have conflict as a result, or we may have things that are in congress as a result, and to look out for either, and to be able to adjust and accommodate one or the other. 3, the principle of maturity, which has sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude. Maturity is that quality that comes of living when we weather the trials of life and gain some understanding that we have to can exercise to protect ourselves from making the same mistakes again. And there's two avenues to that end, if it be an end. That first avenue is wisdom, which is the actual thing that we gain through experience. And the maturity is the utilization of that in our life. We can have wisdom but not use it, and then we're not very mature. We're wise but not mature. But if you have wisdom and you actually use it, then you are mature. The second route to maturity is fortitude. Fortitude is the perseverance that we exercise in living our lives, especially through the trials again. Fortitude is interesting because whereas wisdom usually comes of age, fortitude can be trained at a young age, and this is the route that military institutions use through boot camp and the like. They train their members, their inductees, to be not fortuitous, but to have fortitude. Interesting. It sounds like it would be the word fortuitous, but it's not. They train them to be to push through, and they become, in a sense, mature. Artificially mature? Not really, but it's the same type of thing. It has the same end. Can you be Can you exercise? Can you be very what's the word when you're when you have fortitude and you persevere? Can you have perseverance without, and be strong without wisdom and appear mature or be mature? Yeah, I guess so. Can you be wise but not being very strong and appear mature? Yeah, you could. But you really become a powerful individual when you have both. So the one comes from age, the other comes from practice, right? Experience, really, more than age. The next one is I said atomic principle, principle of nature, maturity. Oh, the social principle. Social principle is simply that human beings are social animals, that we need one another, and that our best ends are social ends. And it's a worthwhile thing to pursue a social lifestyle. Excuse me. Okay, next, temperance. Temperance is the controlled consumption of life and of things. I like that, the controlled consumption of life, because that includes everything. Typically we think of it as food, drink, sex, work, play, controlling our consumption of those things, but in fact it also applies to our emotions. When we feel something rise within us, an upset, for example, or a lusting feeling, we can nibble at that to sense what it is, figure out from whence it came, and then plan our action accordingly, and then to exercise restraint against that, to behave in a more mature manner. That's what temperance, the virtue of temperance. Next is the best seat in the house, I think. No. Agency and indifference. Agents are anything that are alive. The things that they create are the artifacts of agency. This pool, those buildings, are all artifacts of agency. But I am an agent. Those plants back there, those are agents as well. So it's either the life or the things that life creates, the evidence of life, are agents and the artifacts of agents. And they're very comforting. It's a very comfortable thing to be around agents, other agents, and the artifacts of their agency. And when you take all that away, if you subtract all that away, if I could snap my fingers and all this stuff, all these agents and artifacts of agents could disappear, and I'd be left with a moonscape like out in the desert where I hike, or Marsscape, you would have what I call the great indifference, which is everything else. The vast, vast majority of the universe is comprised of indifference. I used the word yesterday, malevolence, which is probably a little too harsh because malevolence implies some agency behind that, and there is none. There is no evidence of any, so it's truly just indifference. And indifference is pretty scary. Indifference is also part of what we sometimes feel when we feel loneliness. I'm no psychologist or psychiatrist, that's just my guess. And so we fill ourselves or surround ourselves with agents, with the companionship, goods and services. That's why we shop, things like that. So watch out. What you need to watch out for is that a quick and easy way to cover up the indifference is to apply artificial agency. Ascribe the indifference to an agent, an unseen agent, namely God. And without any real good reason to believe that that is true, we maybe just be fooling ourselves. And that's a dangerous thing to do, because then we wind up believing fewer true things and more false things. Next is best seat in the house, which is exactly where I am. Well, I mean, this is a pretty good seat, but the idea is to not want to be anywhere else, or not want to be anybody else, or not want to be doing anything else, but just simply be content and all right with where I am, even if I'm not hanging out in a pool, enjoying a November day, beginning to shake a little bit, enjoying a good exercise. But if I was plunging through the hole of a broken outhouse into the poop below, to be all right with that as well. I love that analogy, as ridiculous it is. I love that imagery. Next is to reason, the governing faculty, the force by which we come to understand the world. We look at the facts, we measure them, we gauge them, we come up with arguments that yield predictions. We then look at those predictions. If they yielded truth, if they came out to be true, then maybe we're onto something. Continue testing. If not, then re-examine our facts, re-examine our arguments, and continue working, and work with others. Next is a virtue, which is the purpose of life in my worldview. Virtue is nothing more than improving the well-being of ourselves and others through activities and decisions that perpetuate and improve well-being. It's kind of circular. Things like having pool rules like they're posted up there, right? No pooping in the pool, no glass around the pool, no horseplay, no diving, things like that. These are rules that generally improve the well-being of the individuals that utilize this pool. Clean water, good education, better communication between individuals, the sexes, the nations, the cultures, the religions of the world, things like that. Next is the Path of Wildness. It's a trick I use to get unstuck in anything in life. Literally out in the wild when I'm lost, or in life in general, I assess the facts, look at what I know, and then gauge my gut feeling and go with it, ready to fall off a cliff. But also recognizing that the very fact of moving forward and getting myself out of that position is a good thing. Next is the willful time management. Simply planning out the day to use my time in a very good way, rather than just letting it flit away, drip away through my hands like water. But instead to actually plan what I'm going to do. I can't control that, but I can control... This is a bad analogy. that means nothing. I'm starting to shake. I'm getting cold. But, just simply planning the day out. That's why I have the today's thought plan and today's action plan, which will come up in just a moment. 2 more principles. The next one is the long, silent night. That's what's coming. There's no good reason to think otherwise. The grave will be absolute and forever. Now, if you want to live, better live now. Don't put off your life into a world that that really have no good reason to believe exists at all. And the last one, see if I can remember it. I just added it. It's going to be, I just added it. I was swimming along that lane right there, and I was thinking about it. What is it? Right there. It is, I can't remember. It's gone. I did like 3 laps, and I tried to remember what it was, and now it's gone. I'll give it some thought. I guess I'll wrap up, but real quick, before I wrap up, today's thought plan. 1, collect my thoughts before breakfast, compose them over lunch, record them by dinner, and then die by bedtime. And then today's action plan, well, I've got the day off. My wife's working. My daughter's hanging out. I'm letting her sleep in because she had a long 2 days with her birthday yesterday and Thanksgiving, and the day before we had a nice sort of Thanksgiving the day before, and Black Friday yesterday. She was out all night with her friends. But I think I'm going to do some stuff with my daughter when she gets up. Have a nice day. And just enjoy the day. And enjoy the new book that I got, which I actually picked up halfway through. I've been reading it for years, but I just got it yesterday again. The House of Seven Gables by Nathaniel Hawthorne. And I'm going to close with something new. You know, how do you say it without sounding like I'm, telling anyone to do anything? I just want to suggest that if you can, less social media and more literature. I'll leave it at that. Take care. Have a good life.